From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
The creation of this new river authority will help electrify rural Texas.
And so today, we gather here to dedicate this mighty structure, the Cannondale.
But this has been a great organization for 60 years. It's going to be a great organization for a long time to come.
Hi everyone, welcome to the May 2001 edition of Wavelength. On April 18th, in honor of Earth Day, some 500 volunteer monitors from the Colorado River Watch Network and other groups tested the water quality of the Colorado River and its tributaries from West Texas all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, the data from these locations was phoned in and posted on LCRA's website to give a one-day snapshot of the health of the river. So come on along as we head out with our volunteer monitors to the creeks and rivers of Central Texas for a day in the life of Texas water.
Every day is Earth Day. What do you think that means? Every day is Earth Day. Why would every day be Earth Day? Devin?
Every day that you should take care of your earth.
Where do we go? Right here. Down this way.
Holding tight at 7.1?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our reading. Go, Samuel.
They practiced in the classroom, now they're out here alongside the creek actually doing the test. And it's math and science, it involves some chemicals. Yeah, the kids are really excited about doing the test, but also about just the larger Earth Day perspective.
And it's actually really fun to know that you're helping something.
We wrote poems about Earth Day and ways to save the environment, ways to help purify the water and make it cleaner and stop a lot of the pollution. So the kids feel very strongly about that, which is so important because they are the people that are going to make a difference in our future.
We're checking the water in Shoal Creek and making sure that it's still okay for the fish and stuff.
When you're going to test the water, you're going to put it in a container, swish around, double rinse the container.
It's like a field trip lab, and so we go out here and we use all the different instruments, and you rotate like so what you do.
The data that they produce is useful data, and we use it. And we use it for early warning, and we use it to track conditions over time. They're performing a service in an important way, and also they get the opportunity to be really connected and directly involved in environmental management through a program like this. So even young kids like this can really make a difference, because if they weren't out here, there might not be anybody out here. And so what they tell us is something that otherwise we wouldn't know at all.
We're out here trying to learn how to keep the water clean in Llano River, which is where most of us get our drinking water in Llano County. We're trying to keep it clean, test the pH balance and the total dissolved solids and the dissolved oxygen that's in the river. We're just testing to make sure everything is okay. What was the nitrate? Less than 0?
Water surface is clean, no odor, very clear. There's not much algae growing.
It's good that it's clear. It's good that it's not way over here on the pink like that, because that means there's not any nitrates or any bad chemicals in the water.
It's a lot of people getting together to do the same for a common goal, which is, you know, and it's all the schools and other people that are going along the Colorado River that are doing it.
We think it's real important here in Llano County because the river is a very big part of us. It's where our water sources. This is where we get our city water from the Llano River, and there are very few people, if any, that have not played in the river, go swimming in the river, fish in the river. So it's real important that it does stay clean, and we like to help LCRA monitor it. And we enjoy getting outside out of the classroom too.
I think you need people who are gonna commit to it, because it's an important thing for everyone on the river. It's not just for yourself, but it's for everyone on the river now and everyone else who will ever be on at the Colorado River. And so, I mean, we want to keep it clean, and healthy for everyone.
This is the neat part of the job. When you see how excited these kids are, you feel like you're kind of passing on the stewardship of the river to that next generation. And a lot of times with adults, we become somewhat apathetic. Oh, I can't really change anything. Not with these kids. I mean, they see they can change the world.
The ground below, the stars above, the flowers and birds filled with love. A river flowing far and wide, a luscious forest by its side. One clear brook where you can see a very busy growing tree. As sun rises and sun sets, the horizon glows its goldest yet. But with the tweeting bird and buzzing bee, we can't just all live happily. For our friend and provider far and wide is slowly stopping its long ride. But with the hope of many dreaming minds, the earth will be filled forever with many kinds of people, animals, and green things too, yet only with the helping hands of me and you.
78 sites were tested in the Colorado River Basin on Earth Day. Of those, 74 were rated excellent or good. Only 4 sites on smaller tributaries were rated fair due to low dissolved oxygen levels. No sites on the Colorado received a poor rating.
Happy Earth Day!
That are on the
Back in January, the LCRA board voted to enter into a contract with the San Antonio Water System to provide up to 150,000 acre-feet of water a year for that region from the Colorado River. A bill that would allow this interbasin transfer of water is currently making its way through the Texas legislature. Under the plan, funds from the sale of water to San Antonio would allow the LCRA to construct off-channel ponds to store excess flow in the river downstream of Austin. This new water would help San Antonio meet future water demands. It would also serve irrigation needs in the Colorado River Basin and allow the average level of Lakes Travis and Buchanan to remain higher during droughts.
This room communicates with a similar room that's up at Buchanan Dam, and they actually dispatch the gate operations and cause the gates to open and close on our 6 dams.
In April, the new president and CEO of the San Antonio Water System, Eugene Habiger, visited the LCRA headquarters for a briefing and tour.
Joe Beal and his team of professionals are providing a superb service to this part of Texas. What we're doing and what we're going to be doing over the next several years is something we should have started looking at a long time ago, but because of some very innovative long-range planning that began 2 or 3 years ago, the initiative taken by LCRA just last summer, we are so much better off today than we were 2 years ago. And I applaud the quality team at LCRA for their forward thinking.
Prior to joining the San Antonio Water System, or SAWS, Eugene Habiger was the Department of Energy's Director of Security and Emergency Operations. He was a general in the United States Air Force with 5,000 flying hours, including 150 combat missions in Vietnam. The LCRA and SAWS will explore the environmental impacts of this water proposal during a study period which could last up to 7 years.
When you think of playgrounds, probably the last place you would think of is a hospital. Well, kids who visit here at McKenna Memorial Hospital in New Braunfels will soon have their very own place to spend time. A playground right here at the hospital. The idea came from some special students at New Braunfels High School. Back in November, 7 students from the New Braunfels High attended one of the LCRA's John Ben Shepherd Student Leadership Forums, which are held at school districts throughout the LCRA service area. One aspect of the leadership training has students come up with project ideas that could benefit their own communities. Things like trash pickups or fundraisers for charity. They are supposed to then go back home and make it happen.
3.
The New Braunfels group decided it would be neat to build a playground for the hospital.
I think it's a great cause. It's really going to benefit children at the hospital and the community. I think it was a great idea to start with, and I think we've really come a long way, and we still have a long way to go, but we're going to get there soon.
Students formed their own organization, Kids United for Kids, and applied for a grant from the Community Development Partnership Program at the LCRA. With support from wholesale customers like New Braunfels Utilities, the program gives out more than $1 million a year to schools, communities, volunteer fire departments, EMS units, and hospitals throughout the region.
Well, I'm just really very proud that it's young people like this that are able to recognize a need to give back to their community. And it's just so important that we recognize that our youth has that we support that, and so I'm just real excited about it for them. And our community has been real supportive of our youth and our youth leadership. So I think from that standpoint, we're all just really very proud of them and real excited to be supporting them.
The students got their $20,000 grant from the LCRA and are now planning a fundraiser dinner with the help and support of the Outback Steakhouse. Their goal is to raise $5,000 in matching funds for the playground. Officials at the hospital helped write the grant proposal and are totally supportive of the idea.
It fit in perfectly with what we were wanting to do. The kids here are coming to the hospital. It's a very cold environment. They really needed a place where they could be kids, to go outside, to family waiting in the ER, family visiting patients. It's really going to provide a place for the whole county, for kids in the whole county, to really blow off steam. The entire neighborhood has a lot of children in it. We're about 4 or 5 blocks from a primary school. It's just a perfect place for the children of Comal County to come and play.
Construction of the playground will take place as part of a larger expansion of the hospital and should be complete in about a year.
This month on Board Profile, meet John Matthews, representing Colorado County. John Matthews was appointed to the LCRA board in 1999 by Governor Bush. He currently serves on the Land and Community Resources Committee and the Water Operations Committee. John Matthews' family has been growing rice here in Colorado County for generations. Rice production is key to the economy here, and nothing is more important for rice production than water.
I find the electrical side fascinating and am learning a lot about it, but the basic issue for me is water. And we down here, it is so critical to what we do.
John says he feels connected in a special way with other folks who live on the river, though they may be half of Texas apart. Growing up here, he has seen the beauty and awesome power of the river as it gives and takes away.
The river has cut in to this bank, and ultimately the result of that was that several years ago we lost 131 acres of land to our good friends the Abels, who have the land across the river in Garwood. That's the way life on the river is. It'll move in and it'll move out, and one of these days it'll come back the other way. Maybe not in our lifetime, but it'll happen.
When John Matthews was in the Army, he developed a keen interest in American history, which led to a PhD from Emory University in Atlanta and a college teaching career. His favorite period of American history, the early 1900s, was a time of great conflict and tremendous growth in this country. It was also the same time frame when the LCRA was created by the Texas legislature.
LCRA is, I think, a classic response to a problem as perceived during the time of the New Deal and under Franklin Roosevelt, when the belief was that government was could solve anything. LCRA has turned out to be one of the shining examples of how well that idea can work.
In the early 1980s, after teaching college history in Mississippi and Texas, John returned to Eagle Lake with his wife Joan to manage the family farming operations and raise their family. After 2 years on the LCRA board, Matthew says he is still learning about all of the different things the LCRA is involved in. He says his biggest surprise so far has been the spirit of the LCRA employees.
As to the staff, oh my Lord, it's an embarrassment of riches. I have never been around an organization that has as many superbly qualified people working for it as this one does. They are amazing, and they're not just doing their jobs. They're all doing everything in their power to make things better.
Matthews says he feels that serving on the LCRA board is a great opportunity for him to give something back to the state of Texas, and he feels blessed at having this opportunity. John Matthews' term on the board will expire February 2005.
If you're going to the lake anytime soon, you might want to expect a crowd. Thanks to all the rain recently, Lake Travis is full. As Fox 7's Laura Whitley tells us, that's good news for boaters and businesses that depend on the water.
A first boat launch of the season for Russell Andrews, testing the Lake Travis waters in his new boat.
We live about a mile down from the lake, so we're looking forward to having a great summer.
A great summer, exactly what local businesses want to see after last year's drought.
Last year was a totally different game out here. It was a different lake because it was down so much. It was about 40 feet down from what we're seeing now.
We're expecting a really, really big season this year. With the lake being full, people still want to get out and have a great time on the water.
Even with the season just getting underway, Just for Fun Rentals is seeing business pick up.
We're going to go for 4 hours. On a typical Saturday, we'll run 1,000 people through our door, and it's a madhouse from open to close.
When you have more people out here, you're going to need to pay more attention to your surroundings, other boaters, people in personal watercraft, and swimmers.
For boaters, you'll want to make sure to do a safety check every time before heading out on the water. That means having a fire extinguisher and making sure it's full. Also, make sure you have a life jacket for everyone on board.
Swimmers should also be cautious, understanding the lake is not a controlled environment like a pool. Half a dozen people drowned last year in Lake Travis.
It's very uneven bottom. You've got underwater cliffs, you've got drop-offs. They could be out here just wading around in 3 or 4 feet of water, and their next step could be in 30 feet of water.
Knowing the water and your limitations, making sure every trip on the lake is a safe one. Laura Whitley, Fox 7 News at 9.
Rolling blackouts have plagued California in recent weeks, and the prospect for even more electricity shortages loom this summer.
But those problems aren't expected anytime soon here in Texas, as a new state-of-the-art power plant in Bastrop County gets ready to pump energy to homes in and around Austin. Tonight, only at 10, KXAN's Donna Rapato shows us what it's all about.
It compresses the air up to about 200 pounds per square inch. And right here is where we're going to add the fuel and actually have the flame.
This is just one part of the whole process of making energy at the new state-of-the-art Lost Pines power plant near Lake Bastrop. Through a new process called combined cycle power generation, the plant will use natural gas to produce not one, but 2 types of energy, steam and electricity.
This being a state-of-the-art plant is going to produce power more efficiently with less emissions, meaning cleaner air, and ultimately it should mean a reduction in your electricity bill.
And the new technology also falls within the LCRA's goal to protect the environment.
This plant really falls within that mission and enables us to help lower emissions at the overall site where we already have an existing gas plant, provide more efficient power, which ultimately saves natural resources.
Lost Pines will use about 40% less fuel than older power plants, with double the power, and perhaps more importantly, will make more reliable power for all its customers.
And Lost Pines is expected to go online this summer. LCRA customers like the city of Smithville, San Marcos, LaGrange, Llano, and Lockhart are among the 43 which will start getting power from the new plant. There are other good news besides better air quality and lower energy costs. Lost Pines is also providing more jobs in the area, both during this construction phase and once it's completed. Leslie, Robert, back to you.
It was just one summer ago that local leaders imposed new rules for boaters. Now state lawmakers are looking ahead to boating season. They're considering a bill to keep the waterways a little more peaceful. KVUE's legislative reporter Michelle Levy is live on Lake Austin with our all-new at 6 report. Michelle?
Right now on Lake Austin, you can drive a boat no matter how noisy the engine is. But on the other Highland lakes, if your boat's engine is louder than 92 decibels, you can be ticketed and fined up to $500. Those rules could soon apply to all boaters on all Texas lakes. This is Tommy Cornelius's slice of heaven on Lake Travis.
Well, I love the water, and basically I just like the peace and quiet out here.
But as the weather gets warmer, his peace and quiet gets interrupted.
It's so noisy here in the summer, you know, you gotta close all your windows and turn on the air conditioner, and still, the house vibrates, the windows shake when these guys go by. Well, on the weekends it starts at about 9 o'clock in the morning and keeps going until an hour or two after dark.
Last year, the Lower Colorado River Authority began cracking down on noise levels, letting water lovers know if their boats were louder than 92 decibels, they'd have to quiet down or pay up. Now lawmakers are considering making that a statewide rule.
To give you an idea of just what 92 decibels sounds like, chances are you spend your weekend surrounded by things at least that loud.
.92 decibels packed shore to shore is enough to send Tommy packing. He spends his summers in Montana, away from the lake he loves and the noise he hates. So far, the Lake Patrol hasn't issued any tickets for the noise ban. Last year was the first year it was in effect, and Lake Patrol was much more concerned with educating people, letting them know about the ban than they were about actually writing tickets. But this year, you're fair game for that ticket if your boat is too loud. Live from Lake Austin, Michelle Levy, KVUE News.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. We'll look forward to seeing you again next time.